where does it come? That is, what are the sources of food? What are the ingredients we have learned in the first chapter, and what are the edible parts of the plant material basing on the food habits, the classification of animals, as well as basing on the feeding habits also we have classified, and what is meant by staple food. Now, what are the components of the food we will be going to see? Now, a small warm-up activity for you children. In the components of food, some questions I'll be asking basing on last year what you have learned. So, coming to the components of food, the questions here given are: what do you call the chemical substances that are present in the food? What are they essential? Why are they essential to our body? In addition to these, what are the other two important components of food? You can recall and write the names of various essential nutrients required by our body. Now, last year we have studied the different kinds of nutrients. Now, if you observe these questions, the first question, what do you call the chemical substances that are present in the food? The answer is in the fourth question, that is nutrients. Now, why are they essential to our body? Because they give us energy, they will give us life, good health, then protect us from diseases, they will help in growth, that is bodybuilding, and also repair the worn out parts. Next question, in addition to these, what are the other two important components of food? We have already studied the other two components of food are roughage, that is fibrous food, and water. Now, going to the next clipping, what you will observe is the pictorial form. Now, what it is? First, last question, what are the components of food? That is nutrients. Recall, I told. In the first picture, you are observing so many kinds of sources of food from the plants. Those are mainly cereals, millets, cereals and millets. For example, rice, wheat, basra, ragi, such foods are there in this. So they are examples of energy giving foods, that is carbohydrates. Next picture is showing some eggs, milk, meat, fish, some other important food nutrient. What it is? Proteins. Because they are helping in growth of the body, they are also called as building blocks of the body. Next picture is showing oil extracting seeds, chocolates, and some of the fruit which contains fat, that is avocado, for example. So these also gives us energy. Next picture is showing some fruits and vegetables which gives us minerals and vitamins. These will be protecting us from the diseases. So these are also called as protective foods and keep us healthy and fit. So these are all the nutrients. First question answer. Why these are essential? I told some of the foods gives us energy. Some will be giving growth and bodybuilding, helping in bodybuilding and repairing the worn out parts and spoil new replacement of new cells. Some are protecting us from diseases. Coming to the definition of nutrients, a substance that provides a specific function to our body is called as nutrient. That means which does a specific function. For example, carbohydrates, if you consider, they will help in giving energy. Same way fats also gives us energy. Whereas proteins will help in the growth as well as repairing of worn parts and replacement of new cells. So, they are also called as building blocks of the body. Then, vitamins and vitamins and minerals help us from diseases, protect us from diseases, and helps to maintain good health. And all this together helps in the regulation of the chemical processes which are occurring in our body. That is, so these are doing one chemical substance is doing one specific function. So they are called as nutrients. That is the meaning of the definition. This provides nourishment for maintenance of the life and for the growth. And they are very important. And the see three actually five major nutrients. Those are carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, and minerals. Water also comes under minerals. Next, so the five major nutrients are carbohydrates, fats, proteins, vitamins, and minerals. In addition to that, roughage and water also essential. Essential means important and necessary. Next, coming to this, carbohydrates can be broadly classified into two: simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. Simple carbohydrates are those carbohydrates which can be digested very easily, very quickly, and gives us immediately energy. Those are examples: fruits, milks, and vegetables. Whereas cake, candy, and refined sugar, these are all also provides energy very quickly, but a simple carbohydrates cannot have, or they are lack of vitamins, minerals, and fiber. Now the next category of carbohydrates is complex carbohydrates. These complex carbohydrates are made up of sugar molecules which are linked together by long chain, like that. See, one carbohydrate, one macromolecule is linked. How the beads in the chain will be linked. Same way, here the sugar molecules are linked and forms a big chain. So these complex carbohydrates will provide us with vitamins, minerals, and fiber. And they are present in bread, legumes, rice, pasta, and starchy vegetables like potato and all. And little bit late, it will take time for the digestion. The presence of carbohydrates, whether the carbohydrate is present in the given food material or not. Most frequent and very important test is iodine solution test. To test the presence of either simple or complex carbohydrates, we will be testing with iodine solution. The color of the iodine solution is orangish brown. Now, I have taken here one potato, then peeled that potato or cut into a slice, then with the help of a dropper, pour few drops of iodine solution on the white part, peeled part or cut part of the potato. It turns blue-black. If this proves, if the color change proves that potato is containing starch. So this is the test for starch, that is iodine test. We can say it as iodine test. So some of the food materials you will be finding like rice. Some examples I have given for simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. You select some and do the activity and send me the videos. Next, coming proteins. What are proteins? Proteins are the substances chemically which are having amino acids. That is amino acid combination is carbon, hydrogen, oxygen and nitrogen. These are all linked up to form a protein. So carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, sometimes sulfur also will be present. So these proteins are otherwise known as body building blocks. Why? Because they help in the growth of the body and also they will help proper maintenance of health and repair the worn out cells and also new replacement cells of the body. So the examples of foods which contain high protein content of protein are meat, fish, cheese, eggs, beans, bread, humus, nuts and seeds. These are the examples of high protein content materials. Presence of proteins in the given food item. Here a small activity is given. What are the materials required? Any protein food material and some chemicals like caustic soda. Caustic soda is nothing but sodium hydroxide and copper sulfate solution. These are the chemicals. Little bit water and some of the protein food item. Here I have taken some milk in the test tube. First I have added some copper sulfate solution to it. First you need to add copper sulfate solution to it, then you shake it, then add a few drops of caustic soda, that is freshly prepared sodium hydroxide solution to that, then the protein present in the sample turns in violet color. Actually this color of the copper sulfate is blue. This blue color, when you are mixing with the milk is white in color, that is colorless. So this milk will become into blue color. When you add freshly prepared caustic soda solution, if it turns to purple color, then it proves that the sample is containing protein. How otherwise you do one more experiment also you can do. Take some groundnut because already we have discussed about the high protein content material. So for example another one, take some peas, beans or groundnut seeds, crush them into powder, add 2 to 3 drops of copper sulfate solution, make paste first and then shake the test tube well and add 10 drops of caustic soda solution to that. After the baking powder, make paste like or add 2 to 3 drops of copper sulfate solution and shake that. Then add dilute sodium hydroxide or caustic soda solution. How many drops? 10 drops. Then if the blue color changes to purple color, then it proves that the food material given is containing or the sample is containing protein. Now coming to the next component of the food is fats. Fats are organic substances. These are all organic substances, carbohydrates, fats, proteins. So these organic compounds serve as reserve food for energy. Our energy needs readily getting energy by eating carbohydrates. Fats will be the stored energy in the body. So whenever necessary, this fat material will be giving the energy. Sometimes some people will be fasting and all. Sometimes without food also. Even then they are getting some. They will be having some energy from where they are getting. Already, this will be stored in the form of fat. So this is the reserve component of food for us. And this where from where you are getting fatty meats, fish. Examples, these are all cheese, butter, avocado, nuts, seeds, chocolates. These are all very rich content of fatty food materials. Coming to the test for fats. Take a bone paper, take any oil seed like seed for some time, and you can observe a patch will be forming on the blotting paper or your filter paper. This is one test what you can do. Now, in these two blotting papers or filter papers, when you observe, this is the patch of water drop, whereas this is the patch of oil drop. Chemically, how fats will be tested. Now, in the lab, one of the organic compound by name ethanol. This will be putting 2-3 drops in the oil, then oil will become smoky, cloudy. This is the best chemical test for the presence of oil or fats in the food. In the oil, suppose if you drop in any cooking oil few drops of ethanol and shake it, then some more oil to this solution you add again, then oil turns cloudy. So by this we can say that oil contains fat. The simple test is take some oil seeds and oil producing seeds like groundnut, sunflower, sesame, these, mash it as and or rub it on the blotting paper or filter paper. You can see the patch. Now, next coming to vitamins. Vitamins are present in the food in very small quantities. So they are called as micronutrients, and they are very essential for our body because it needs in very small quantities for functioning of our metabolic activities, and also these can be synthesized uh, by our body and cannot be synthesized by eating food. These are present in only specific foods. We cannot synthesize them or anything, we cannot produce them. So these vitamins and minerals are micronutrients which are very much necessary by our body. For example, vitamins can be classified into vitamin A, B, C and D. These are the examples for vitamin A. Papaya, fish, egg, liver, carrots are very rich in vitamin A. Vitamin B, so many types of vitamin B are there, so it is called as also complex vitamin. And for example, cereals, fish, banana, egg, meat, almond, other cereals also, oats, these will be having vitamin B. Now coming to vitamin B, all citrus fruits which are sour in taste, those are called as vitamin C rich fruits like strawberry, grapes, orange, apple, kiwi. Coming to vitamin B, oily fish, milk, then egg, beans, but these are all very rich, very minute quantities. So vitamin D also can be produced by our body by sunlight. Sunlight provides skin. Suppose a person is dark in color, needs more time to stay in the sun to get D vitamin, whereas some colored white color people can synthesize very easily the vitamin D when they are by the help of sunlight. Sunlight helps in um, but by our skin can prepare vitamin D. Coming to the minerals, these are naturally occurring inorganic substances, mostly solid materials. Here I have shown chemical chemistry. When you go to higher level, higher classes, you will be learning these are the elements. We are telling them as elements. Till now, what you have studied, the carbohydrates, proteins, fats, these few vitamins and minerals, these are all you have studied. Mainly they are organic. That is, you have studied. Now these minerals are in minute quantities they are present. and they are inorganic. They are inorganic, like usually metals, non-metals. These some you will be learning in higher level chemistry. So those are inorganic substances, not from the very minute quantities they are present in the plant and animal bodies. So these are the metals which are termed as inorganic substances. So for example, I have given here sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium, zinc, iron with the symbols calcium Ca, magnesium Mg, zinc Zn, vitamin A, iron Fe, phosphorus P, and potassium K, copper Cu. Like this I have given and the examples. For example, iodine. So seafood, fish, rich in iodine. Then salt materials, broccoli, turnip, carrot. Same way magnesium is present in beetroot, potato, peas, pera, um, banana. Like this, these are all examples in which these minerals are present, very rich in mineral content. Mineral and the vitamins are very much necessary for our metabolic activities. So if they are not there in our body, what will happen? We'll see in the next classes. Now, next coming to other two important fiber and water. So, what is roughage? Roughage is nothing but the fibrous food which cannot be digested material by us. It is indigestible material which is present in the vegetables foodstuffs, which is helps in aids, means helps the passage of the food as well as waste products from through the gut. So it will be helping in the passage of food for the digestion as well as it relieves us from the constipation problem, and it easily throws out the waste products from our body. How we will be sweeping our houses with broomstick, like these fibrous food helps in easy digestion of the components of the food, but it will not be digested by us. It helps in the bowel movement of the digested food material, removes the waste material from the body. That is called as bowel movement, means that is only passage of the food in the body and helps in sending out the waste material. So the roughage or fibrous indigestible food material which are rich in these contents of the are present in these food materials. These are the examples: apple, banana, carrot, that capsicum, broccoli, some seeds, almonds. These are all very rich in papaya. Then these are all rich in uh, roughage, that is fibrous food, which helps in proper proper digestion, uh, bowel movement of the food, relieves us from constipation problem, then helps in easy digestion of the foodstuffs. Water is one of the essential nutrient because it does so many activities in our body. That is, so many biochemical reactions, means biological, so many these all components are chemical substances I told. Biology in the living organisms, whatever it may be occurring. So, so to carry out internal reactions, water is very, very essential. For example, water helps in our body in absorbing the nutrients. It helps in transporting the substances inside our body. It also helps in the removal of waste from our body in the form of urine. It also helps in regulating our body temperature. It also helps it as a lubricant for joints and muscle, and it also regulates our body temperature. How? By um sweating. Then it allows the body to absorb and assimilate minerals, vitamins, amino acids, glucose, and other substances. This is nothing but to get the energy. It also helps in mm, a condition to avoid from dehydration. See, continuously water will be releasing from the body in the form of sweat, urine, water vapor while breathing. Hence, we need this water, whatever it is going again to replenish it. You need to drink 6 to 8 glasses of water a day. Otherwise, body gets dehydrated. Dehydrated means less of water, loses water. So, if this water is not there in our body, these all functions will be not be occurring. Then it is very much difficult for all these functions to occur in our body. So, not only drinking water, while cooking water, we will be using in the fruits also, vegetables also, milk also, and juices also. We will be getting from juices also, we will be getting water. Next, see, same thing, the example of what water does in our body with the drops I had given. First, it regulates the body temperature, protects organs and tissues, helps in preventing constipation, helps in dissolving minerals and other nutrients to make them accessible to the body. That means accessible to use those after digestion. Carries nutrients and oxygen to all the cells of the body, lessens the burden on the kidneys and liver by flushing out the waste products, and it helps as lubricants near the joints and muscles, moistures the tissues such as eyes, mouth, and nose, etc. These are all we have studied today. Tomorrow we will be learning about what are the some definitions and what will happen if these are not in proper amount.
For starch, protein and fat. In this module, you will learn to test the presence of starch, protein and fat in food items. One should have milk in his diet because it is a complete food. But what is meant by complete food? Complete food means the food that contains all the required components of food such as carbohydrates, proteins, fats, minerals, etc. Milk contains almost all of these required components, so it is a complete food. Let us conduct an activity to find out the presence of components of food such as starch, protein and fat in different food items. To conduct this activity, you need a few potatoes, pulses in powdered form, crushed cashew nuts, a knife, a dropper, a candle, a matchbox, test tubes, iodine solution, copper sulfate solution, caustic soda solution, and water. Let us first test the food items for the presence of starch. Take 4 test tubes. Now mark them as A, B, C and D and place them in a test tube stand. Cut a small piece of potato with the knife and put it in the test tube A. Take a little quantity of powdered pulse and put it in the test tube B. In the test tube C, add a few pieces of crushed cashew nuts. In the test tube D, add a little amount of water and label this as control. With the help of a dropper, add few drops of iodine solution in each test tube. Now wait for 1 to 2 minutes and observe. What do you observe? The potato piece in the test tube A turned blue-black. You can also observe that no change has occurred in the test tubes B, C and D. Starch reacts with iodine solution to give a blue-black color. The test tube containing potato showed blue-black coloration. This confirms that potato contains starch. Let us now perform next activity to test the presence of proteins in the food items. First, take 4 test tubes. Now mark them as A, B, C and D and place them in a test tube stand. Now, similar to the first experiment, put a piece of potato in test tube A, a little quantity of powdered pulse in the test tube B, and few pieces of crushed cashew nuts in test tube C. In the test tube D, add a little amount of water and label this as control. Then add few drops of water in each test tube. Shake all the test tubes well. Now with the help of dropper, add 2 drops of copper sulfate solution and few drops of caustic soda to each test tube. Again shake all the test tubes well. And wait for a few minutes. Observe the change in color in all the test tubes. This time you will observe that in the test tube B, the color of the food item changes from blue to violet. But why is it so? This is because proteins give violet color on reacting with copper sulfate and caustic soda. Hence, we conclude that pulses contain proteins. Pulses are a rich source of proteins. Let's conduct a test that confirms the presence of fat in food substances. Take 4 pieces of paper. Mark these pieces as A, B, C and D respectively. On paper A, keep a small potato. On paper B, keep powdered pulses. On paper C, keep crushed cashew nuts. Do not keep anything on paper D. Wrap each food item in its respective papers and crush them properly. Now straighten the papers and remove the food items from them. What do you observe on the paper pieces? Let us see. There is nothing on the paper A and paper B. There are some peculiar patches on the paper C. No, there is nothing on paper D also. Let us find out more about the patches on paper C. Are these patches oily? Light a candle and hold it against the light. What do you observe? A very faint light passes through the oily patch. An oily patch on the paper confirms the presence of fat in food item. Therefore, we can conclude that cashew nut contains fat. In this module, you have learned that food items contain some essential components. For example, potatoes contain starch, pulses contain protein, cashew nut contains fat.